Alright folks, after that Myriad Celestia trailer and that goated animation we got, there's some huge Acheron speculations going around. And in this video, I'll be breaking down all the info we got in these, as well as the Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters Relic set. I will also be providing my own theories and speculations as to analyze her character and what we can expect in her story. I'm Moofy, and if you like content like this, then hit that thumbs up and subscribe to get good luck on your Acheron pulls. So, without further ado, here's what we know about Acheron. They travel unceasingly between planets, and their blades dance endlessly to eradicate evil. She claims to be a galaxy ranger, and her real name is not Acheron. But her animation and trailer give us a huge insight into her past and homeworld, so I'll break these down piece by piece as we go. And starting off with the Acheron and Black Swan trailer, now without getting too distracted by the Yuri, just looking at the title can really give us some insight. Rondo across countless kalpas. A rondo is a specific musical form with a recurring leading theme, and a kalpa is a measurement of time from the beginning of a world to its destruction. Essentially, it means an episodic song being sung across countless life cycles. This can also reference the planetary cycle of Acheron's homeworld, or the samsara-like cycle of life. Now for the description. The dual planets were intertwined in each other's tragic destiny, dancing an internal rondo around a pitch-black great sun. In the beginning, one of the planets gave rise to humans. These people looked down and named the land below HEWWO. These people looked up and named the world above Takamagahara. Acheron's home planet is HEWWO, which is connected to Takamagahara, with Takamagahara on top and HEWWO underneath. For the record, they are two separate planets, or at least used to be. One day, uninscribed in the annals, the Yoyozoro no Kami descended from Takamagahara. These demonic beasts named Kami overturned the skies, burned the rivers and oceans, and shattered the land. People realized in horror that it was not an invasion for rulership, dominance, or plunder. The evil Kami came only to kill. Essentially, the Kami decided to come down and wreak havoc on HEWWO and kill everybody. So the Kami could very well represent the equivalent to Honkai here on these two worlds. As the planet stood on the brink of death, HEWWO embarked on a Kami-slaying journey, exhausting the might of the entire country to slay the calamity Sovereign of Revelation, and forging the very first Edict Edge using its bestial body. So basically, the Sovereigns are like the Hershers of HEWWO. This is similar to how the pioneers of the previous era fought the Honkai. They used the corpses of the dead Hershers to create powerful weapons called Divine Keys, using the powers of the Honkai within the Hersher cores. Giving the Kami a taste of their own medicine, the wielder of these swords can recite the mantra contained within the blade to master the divine power of Takamagahara and use it to combat the evil Kami and save the masses. From then on, HEWWO started its long and arduous crusade, exchanging inordinate lives lost for the fall of one Kami after another, shattering countless mortal blades to forge the 12 Sentinels. Takamagahara could be the Lengchu to HEWWO, being the side that birthed the Kami and where the Kami powers derive from, like the data monsters coming from the Sea of Data. The people's conquest led to the death of many to forge the 12 Sentinels. In the merciless fight for survival, HEWWO used the might of the Edict Edges to light up their uncivilized world of darkness in less than 10 amber eras, building cities of dazzling neon lights. That distant Takama divine realm, once so far away, became so close within their reach. Yet, history suddenly stopped there. The existence of the two planets instantly evaporated, disappearing into nothingness. So just like the pioneers of the previous era, despite the overly advanced technology, the civilization somehow failed against the Honkai and was plunged into another darkness, awaiting humanity to return in the future. Nowadays, the past of the border planet HEWWO can only be gleaned from the scattered whispers in the universe. Academics hold various views regarding its disappearance, but none can solve the mystery. Looking at the planar ornaments, this world structure is eerily similar to the structure of Oshia and Lengchu from Honkai 3rd. Now, this could be just an arbitrary design choice, and I'm just talking out of my butt here, but it is worth noting that Oshia and Lengchu are also connected to each other, with one place where everyone lives peacefully without threat, and the other serving as a place where the bad guys come from. Kinda like heaven and hell. Oshia on top resides an advanced human civilization living in peace without threat. Langchu, however, resides underneath Oshia, being a barrier between the Sea of Data and Oshia. And struggling to keep afloat in the Sea of Data, Langchu serves as the hell to Oshia, being held in place with giant nails as to not sink further into the Sea of Data. And Langchu gives birth to shadows, which would be this world's equivalent to Honkai, birthing monsters and disasters from these shadows. Izumo's history should have been a long flowing river, but it was severed in one cut, and all its past and future voided on emptiness's other shore. In the name Acheron actually comes from Greek mythology, where it is often depicted as the entrance to the Greek underworld, where souls must be ferried across. It's essentially a river of death, basically. It is also sometimes referenced as a metaphor, which saw Acheron as a psychological underworld beneath the conscious mind. Did it never exist? And was it no more than a fabricated story? Did its histories never occur, and it ran aground on the beach of reverse causation? Was it yet another appalling experiment by Dr. Primitive? Or was it a sign of the veracity returning from the end of the cosmos? Only that pitch-black great sun knows the answer, yet they remain silent, never speaking, because everything that had happened will one day regress to the end, and everything that had ended is guaranteed to happen again. The universe undergoes an eternal recurrence under their shadow, and Izumo is nothing more than the footnote for an ellipsis. The pitch-black sun is assumed to be 9. Everything that had happened will one day regress to the end, and everything that had ended is guaranteed to happen again, meaning this world goes through and has probably gone through many samsaras or life cycles. 9 very well could have known about the life cycle of worlds and that destruction was imminent, but being the eon of nihility, they didn't care, and they let finality take the worlds, I guess? We know samsaras are very prominent in these plots, and with the influence of finality, could we be getting some terminus crumbs soon? Okay, now let's break down some things from the Acheron Myriad Celestia trailer. I'm gonna break this down piece by piece. This trailer was jam-packed with Honkai Impact references and Easter eggs, so here's all of them, and then at the end, I'll explain how they tie into Acheron. Izumo reflects Honkai Impact's previous era Earth. Humanity was born, and then so did the Kami. Then the sovereigns from the Kami, like Boss Kami, and the sovereigns would be likened to the Hershers of the previous era. Not to mention, they also go in order as they arrived in Honkai Impact.
The first was truth, forged by the Sovereign of Revelation. It could teach mortals the way of the law, and create miracles from the deconstruction of all things.
In Honkai 3rd, the key of revelation came from the Hersher of Reason, which in the current era evolved to the Hersher of Truth. However, the Hersher of Truth uses the Star of Eden, which I'll talk about later. In the previous era, the Key of Revelation was actually the last divine key to be made and created from the First Hersher of Reason. Called Void Archives, this AI contains the archive of all the data, information, and knowledge from the previous era and can use that information to create anything and even mimic other divine keys. Also, he's in Star Rail.
The second was Sky, forged by the eternal Zenith. It could form a barrier from the firmament and prevent the innumerable gods of misery from passing through.
And this one would be the counterpart to Void. Previous era forged the Key of Infinity from the Hersher of the Void, and created the Cosmic Juggernaut, which basically lets users ignore firmaments or boundaries, letting them traverse worlds, kinda like the Astral Express. It also looks super similar to Kiana's Hersher of Void thingies.
The third was HEWWO, able to summon lightning to rend the heavens and meteors to rain down divine punishment.
The counterpart to this would be the third divine key, Key of Sanction, made from the Hersher of Thunder, also called the Seven Thunders of Retribution. It has 7 different forms, each being a different weapon type with different abilities, and is known to change without warning depending on the user's mood or personality. Although this is just a basic lightning weapon, the current era Hersher of Thunder did have another type of weapon, a big old dragon. Also, it's May.
The fourth was Mist, able to break earth and tear cloud with biting wind and rain.
Honkai Impact's version is the 4th divine key, made from the Hersher of Wind. It wasn't windy, but she is the current era Hersher of Wind. This divine key was in the form of a satellite. It could control the weather and restore Honkai-infected areas, which played a major role after the previous era collapsed and restored the Earth, ready for a new civilization to emerge.
The fifth was Frost, freezing the land in an instant.
This one's counterpart in Honkai Impact is the 5th Divine Key, created from the Hersher of Ice. This was not a weapon, but a major tool in the efforts of surviving. The previous era made cryogenic sleeping pods for the remains of the humanity to wait out the Honkai fallout and survive total extinction.
The 6th was fate, the restless cycle of life and death.
In Honkai Impact, the 6th Divine Key is the Key of Creation, made from the Hersher of Death. Called the Abyss Flower, it wields the healing powers of life and the destructive powers of death, giving the user the ability to recreate or destroy matter. The Hersher of Death in previous era was also a Seele variant, which, because of the current era Seele's stigma, she became the current era's Hersher of Death and Rebirth. Similar to the Hersher of Death, but more emphasis on the rebirth part.
Then there was Flare.
The 7th Divine Key is the Key of Destruction, or Judgment of Shamash, created from the Hersher of Fire. It's a really big fire sword and usually kills any user that isn't of Caslana descent. This is because of the inherited Caslana stigma from the ice-cold Mantis boy Kevin.
Thought.
The 8th Divine Key is the Key of Sentience, or Feng Huang Down, made from the Hersher of Sentience. This weapon gives the user reality manipulation abilities and can communicate, link, record, and destroy memories and consciousnesses and dreams, and can even create unending illusions in dreams, kinda like Genjutsu. So sick! Long live Yatta!
Root.
The 9th Divine Key is the Key of Devouring, or Star of Eden, created from the Hersher of Earth and Stars. It can create black holes and manipulate gravity. This is what Welt uses.
Form.
This one isn't as straightforward, but the 10th Divine Keys are actually plural, the Keys of Domination, made from the Hersher of Domination. This Hersher had the ability to control the consciousnesses of a large number of people and could connect them like a hive mind, all under its control. It was then made into a mass-produced Divine Key, each having different abilities. Hua and Susheng are some that wield them, like the Xuanyan Swords or the Grips of Taishuan and Water's Edge, to name a few. Starrel Yenching also seems to yield some, like Honkai Impact's Susheng.
Bind.
The 11th Divine Key is the Key of Binding, made from the Hersher of Binding. Not to sound too excited there, cause this one's a doozy. The Hersher of Binding had the ability to create an anti-Honkai field, which basically nullified any sort of energy, including Honkai energy.
NANI?!
This meant that she could render all the Honkai-powered weapons and Mantis soldiers completely useless. She was ultimately defeated, but cost great collateral damage of about 70% of humanity. The 11th Divine Key, the Oath of Judah, was created from her, and just like the Hersher, it has the ability to nullify Honkai energy, but this time, the humans have control of it.
Maw.
Now, this reflects the Hersher more than the Divine Key. The Key of Corruption was made from the Hersher Corruption. This Hersher was a self-aware lethal virus that could infect humans and technology, turning them into Honkai beasts. It was able to take control of a moth base and launch all the nuclear warheads at the last remaining cities in the previous era. It was eventually captured and stored in a black box, but that's not the end of the corruption story, but for sake of time, we'll save that for another video. So, the Kami is like Honkai, the Sovereigns are like the Hershers, and the Sentinels are like the Divine Keys, or could also be like the good guy Hershers. Now, the origin and end explanation. So even though Izumo had forged these powerful weapons, they still received a fatal blow from the Maw, or corruption. And with no hope left, they used what little they had left from the Sentinel weapons and forged them into two bearers, Origin and End. Now, I believe the word Sentinel could mean either literal weapons or figuratively, like a person being described as a weapon. So with that being said, I believe Acheron became the Sentinel of Origin, and her white-haired partner became the Sentinel of the End. This could mean this white-haired Oni is, in fact, her Caslana partner, but because he could not withstand the corruption like she could, he became the final sovereign of the End and started to bring more destruction to what little was left of Izumo. And then Acheron ultimately had to kill him, and by doing so, also ending what was left of her world and finally becoming a god of nothing. Also, the CN and JP versions uses the voice actor who also does Kevin Caslana. It is also worth noting here that MiHoYo actually has said that Kevin and Kiana are variants of each other. Ooh, what if the Izumo story is what happens when Mei doesn't have her kiss Lana, and Genshin is what happens when Kiana doesn't have her Mei? I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get back on track here. Acheron's Relic set, the pioneer diver of dead waters. The Relic backstory tells of a nameless named Phoebus, who traveled with a companion with a long blade, assuming to be Acheron. Phoebus ventured into Nine to try to walk on the road deeper and further than Achevilles, but eventually met her demise. In Phoebus's last moments, she saw a dash of crimson blinking briefly into existence in the center of the pitch-black world. That dash of crimson that Phoebus saw within the black hole could be Acheron being touched by Nine's shadow and becoming the emanator of nihility. And Phoebus's experience in Nine detailed memory loss, as she was stuck in a state of dying for 14 days. That's 2 weeks, referring to the time dilation caused by entering the event horizon of a black hole. Science things. Science people in real life tell us that a person entering a black hole, if that was ever possible, may experience all memories of their lives in the entire universe in mere moments. But Nine's effects are known to lose memories and all sense of oneself. Could it be that Phoebus was able to have one last memory with the protection of the diving suit to remember Acheron, and this was the dash of crimson she saw? Or did Acheron try to save Phoebus and got close enough to be touched by Nine's shadow and become an emanator? Was this dash of crimson Phoebus saw as she died? Although that last one is not as likely, considering Acheron is probably already an emanator of nihility by that point. Unless this all happened before her world got destroyed, and this is why she didn't have enough hope to save her world. Just kidding. Unless... Okay, anyways, we also know that the self-annihilators that follow Nine suffer from the effects of nihility. Their bodies, mind, and memories gradually fade away, eventually becoming nothing. Self-annihilators are the emanators of nihility. They are a group that lost their meaning of existence when they carelessly stepped into Nine, the nihility's shadow. The shadow of the nihility covers the stars equally, and self-annihilators may form in any world. Some have their endocrine system disrupted, becoming unable to distinguish between pleasure and pain, and turning numb to everything. Some lose their memories, and others lose their senses. And as if they have been deprived of the meaning of their lives by some entity, and can only keep watching in dreams and illusions as their own forms disappear into a black hole at the end of the horizon. Acheron exhibits severe memory issues, has similar flowers to the Pioneer Relic set on her splash art, and has a black hole behind her in White Knight. It could be possible that Acheron decided not to follow Phoebus into Nine, but still was close enough to be affected by Nine's shadow and become an emanator, if she wasn't already. The core tenet of nihility also supports Acheron acting as a sort of harbinger of death and finality. Death and finality are just another way to describe nihility, or nothingness. Okay guys, it is crack theory time! Crack theory time! Izumo perished because they didn't have enough power of hope. Now, hear me out. In Honkai Impact's previous era, the First Hersher was the Hersher of human ego. She had a 0.0% chance of existing and was born from nothing. Well, technically she came from a time crystal, which occurred due to spontaneous symmetry breaking, but we're not gonna get all into that. Just know she wasn't supposed to be born. Essentially, she was previous era's Jesus. No kidding, a lot of her symbolism in the game reflects the Christian Jesus, a lot. But she loved humanity so much, she set her life's goal to save and preserve it. Yes, a Hersher loving humanity. She created the Moths and Flame Chasers, and fought against all the Hershers throughout the previous era's time. And towards the end, she sacrificed herself to change the cocoon of finality, so that the future Hershers would be able to regain their humanity. Because of this, the previous era called her the 13th Hersher, when in reality, she was actually the first, the Hersher of origin, or in this case, the Hersher of humanity. Without Alesia, the current era would have no chance of surviving the cycle of Hershers, and doomed to repeat what the previous era did, and fail the fight against the Honkai. Kiana is also the reason why Mei was able to overcome the Hersher personality inside her and continue fighting. I think, without her kiss Lana, and without the hope of Pink Jesus, Izumo had always been fated to perish. Now for a little Acheron theory. Acheron's memories are such absolute chaos that even Black Swan can't even navigate or withstand the chaotic and fragmented memories, which is a side effect from being touched by Nine Shadow. And we already know that she is Nihility's emanator. And from the Archon Pinaconi guide sticker, it says, "Destiny is like a thread and it must be snapped when necessary." Acheron's apparent ability to travel backwards in time can also be related to a phenomenon often seen in black holes called time dilation. Could her fragmented memories be memories from pasts and futures of other timelines, and she doesn't know how to navigate or piece them together, but still somehow can feel what she needs to do or don't do, like killing Duke Inferno or not saving Firefly? It reminds me a lot of Paul from Dune. I know, but hear me out. His prophetic dreams were not exactly literal or set in stone, but more as a guidance and insight into the future and the role he is supposed to play in the universe. If she brings death and finality, does she go around the cosmos clipping bad timelines? With Elio's script and the never-ending samsaras they keep throwing at us, it's not far-fetched to theorize that Acheron could serve as a manipulator of fate, severing timelines or changing timelines so they continue on their pre-told paths. Much like the three goddesses that weaves the thread of fate in Genshin and many other myths, Acheron could be the one responsible for severing fates and correcting timelines. Going out the Phoebus theory, did she let Phoebus go into 9 alone on purpose because she knew she had to let her go, just like she knew to take out Duke Inferno? Also, when exactly did she meet this Phoebus? Was it before or after her world ended? And was she the reason Phoebus died? What exactly did Black Swan see in Acheron's memories? And why did Acheron kill Duke Inferno? Did she also kill Robin? And what the heck is she doing in Pinaconi? Also, why does she seem to know the Trailblazer? There's many mysteries revolving around our Raiden Mei variant, and it seems to me, as well as a lot of other Honkai players, while also being confirmed by HEWWO themselves, Acheron is likely Izumo's variant of Raiden Mei. Do you think she travels world to world, protecting others from experiencing what she experienced? Or do you think she's a true emanator of nihility, using her memories of past and future to cut and correct timelines? Or maybe you think she could still be a kami from Izumo and is on the hunt to end humanity and civilizations across the cosmos? Let me know in the comments below and tell me all the rest of your Acheron thoughts and theories and what you're hoping to see in Acheron's story. Anyways, that's all from me today. I really hope you enjoyed my breakdown and theories on the mysterious Acheron. It was a long one, so if I missed anything, please let me know. And if you enjoy lore content like this, then please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to get some extra good luck on your Acheron pulls. Once again, I am Ubi, and thank you so much for watching.